making a reference to a couple or a number of people on our team. We have a Vesa Mata, an Andrea Waddell, and a Sandy Waddell. Could you stand up for a minute? Okay. They have gone through nothing but trials getting here. As you know, Kelowna, British Columbia is kind of on fire, and they've been trying to get here, and planes canceled and whatever, and they did whatever it took to get here, even though there was adversity. So congratulations for you. We have a little branch team started in Lethbridge, Alberta with Wendell Travers. He came over from RBC, and he's doing a good job out there. And I just have to put a plug out, because if it isn't for your team, what happens? Zippo Runo, okay? So the other thing too is my wife and I, we do everything together. And in my remarks, I might say I. It was only because it was easier to put that in the writing or whatever, but it's not I, it's we. And so we need to remember that it could be a we spouse, could be a we partner, could be whatever, but it isn't going to be done by I or us alone, okay? So as Jamie mentioned, I was a server for many years in a hotel dining room, and I got into this industry because I was fed up with missing Valentine's, Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, okay? And in working as hard as I did in that occupation, I was only ever meeting the needs, the basic needs of my family. And I knew for a fact that if I stayed there, I would never be able to provide any of the wants. And it weighs on an individual when you know that if you don't change, that's where you're going to be. And I never planned on being a waiter. I just ended up getting a job when I got out of university, and I ended up being there like 15 years. And I just came to a point where I just couldn't do that anymore. So I knew my why. So I need to ask you a favor. Do you know your why? Do you really know your why? May I have you cooperate with me here a little bit and just stand up if you know your why? Okay, humor me. And if not, stay sat down, and that's just the way it's going to be. So I appreciate you doing that. Okay, so now you know your why. My question is, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? So the fact that we talk these things about knowing our why, it doesn't just end there. We have to actually take action. See, over my 34 years in this industry, and I've been here now 34 years, I've always wanted to improve, always wanted to get better. I always wanted to excel at my craft, okay? Not just get by. And over the 34 years, I've been with 3 other firms. And through all of that experience, I've heard people say, I'm going to do it. I'm really going to do it. And then I'm really, really going to do it. And then for some reason, very few people ever get around to doing much of anything. And my question is, why? I've thought of that over and over in my career. Why is it that we want, but for some reason we lack doing? And so when I've looked at that, a lot of it comes down to self-esteem. A lot of it comes down to how we perceive ourselves. Before I was introduced to the financial services industry, again, I didn't have the best self-esteem. I really didn't. As a matter of fact, when I entered into the hospitality industry, I started off as a busboy. And I remember one of my experiences, I went up to this table with the tray in my right hand, and the manager of the hotel who hired me said, Kevin, if you're going to do well, you need to carry your tray in your left hand and serve with your right. And I said, I don't have a lot of dexterity with my left hand. He said, well, if you're going to want to do that, you're going to need to. And so I tried to be coachable, and I happened to go up to his table trying to impress him with the tray in my left hand. And it didn't work out so well. there's a thing about gravity and what have you. And I dropped the entire tray of water glasses on the manager of the hotel who hired me. Is that how you do? Oh my goodness, I was mortified, and I thought, am I ever going to do well? Am I ever going to do this job, to my expectation, my satisfaction? And I ended up doing pretty well. I believe I became a very good server. I knew my clientele, and I loved it. But down deep, I knew that if I stayed there, I was never, ever going to provide for my family the way I wanted to. And so I had to change. So just as I got good at my occupation as a server, I knew that I had to do something different. And so that's why I got into this business. Now, these drives, they have to come from down deep. They really do. They can't be superficial propaganda type of thing. You have to have them from the core. And whenever I got into this business, I messed up. Has anyone ever here messed up? Okay, we do, as we're learning a new skill. And I just wondered, how is this all going to work out in the end? And I would always beat myself up. And I don't know why, I just did. And I would talk down to myself. Can anyone relate to that? And again, I speak bilingual. I say pourquoi, and that's it. Okay, I think that's how you say why. Or for Spanish, ¿por qué? I don't know. Anyways. Okay, so I still remember the day that I broke through. I remember vividly when I stopped looking down at myself. As a matter of fact, my family and I were on a family reunion in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So for my American friends, does anyone know where Bethlehem, Pennsylvania is? Okay. So Pam brought up our pay stub, and we had gone over $250,000 of income at that time. I mean, I'm talking $250,000. And I looked over to Pam in the living room. I can still visualize that. And I said, Pam, I guess I'm not a waiter anymore. And we had little successes along the way, but that moment, I looked at myself totally and completely different. Now, your transformation or your change might happen at a different point. But for me, when I hit that $250,000, or when we hit that $250,000, everything, the world opened up to us. And I mean, we were excited. We were totally excited. We wanted to do something special. We wanted to celebrate. We wanted to, what have you. And so we wanted to do something special that would link that occurrence to a change in our lives. And so Pam has a sister who at their family reunion, and she had been talking about this amusement park in the area called Dorney Park. Anybody ever heard of Dorney Park? Okay, it's a lot of fun. So we said to the family, we want to take everyone who wants to go to Dorney Park, and we're going to pay for the day. And there were people in the room at the reunion that says, you can't do that. You don't know how much it's going to cost. It's going to cost way too much. You can't do that. And we said, it's okay. We're celebrating. And so we said, again, tomorrow, whoever wants to go, we're going. So the next day, all of the family that wanted to piled into these cars. We went the 20 miles or whatever it was to Dorney Park. One of my proudest moments from a financial standpoint is walking up to that gate and paying the admission for everybody that wanted to go. It was amazing. And then when we got inside, we said, hey, tell you what, let's agree to meet here, and we'll pay for lunch as well. And so, again, we went like crazy men all over the park, having fun. We rode things like the Talon, okay, Hydra, Steel Force. These are all roller coasters and stuff that were just a lot of fun to be on. Because, again, when we were there, it was just an experience of a lifetime. And to this day, we've had nieces and nephews say that was one of their best days ever. And they were able to spend time with cousins and aunts and uncles and laugh and scream a lot. And so it's really amazing. So in my career, I came up with a saying years ago that said, you want to exchange money for memories, okay? You want to exchange money for memories. Now, it's not about the money. It really isn't. It's about the freedom and the options and the things that you can do because now you have it. I want you to just think in your mind for a moment, have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to do something and the only thing standing in your way was the fact that you didn't have the monetary means to do it with? Now can you imagine looking forward and saying, now I have the money, now all of those barriers have come down. Now all of the things that I want to do for myself and others and my community, I can now participate in. And I believe that most people can change. Most people can really change if they come to know their why. Now, through all of this that I've done, when I think back at my career, when I started, it all happened because I was willing to take one step at a time. I had to do that. I couldn't look at the whole thing and say, I can do it all. But I could take one step at a time, one step at a time. And then I looked behind and saw how far I had come. So when we think about it, many of us are changing right now. You've taken your exam FX or whatever it is in the States, I apologize, or your LLQP. You've passed it, you've got your license. You're here. Congratulations on being here. The fact that you're here is demonstrating that you're taking these steps forward. I remember a very wise person telling me at one time that this business is all about assets under management and people under leadership. And I think any firm, any company in our industry knows that they can't do it on their own. They need to accumulate or they need to attract people to come along on the journey. See, a lot of people, they will work for a traditional IMO or MGA, but what they're doing is they're building someone else's dream. What we do is we invite people to come and partner with Experior so they can build their own dreams. And I think that that's a very noble thing to do, is to just extend invitations to have people come and partner with us. Oh, is that? Sorry. So in conclusion, there will always be naysayers. Always be naysayers. I remember again when I left my former occupation, people would say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? You're risking everything. It's all commissions, blah, 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 blah. And really what they were saying is, don't show me up. Don't make me accountable for staying where I'm staying. What they were really saying is, Kevin, stay in your lane. And again, now that we've had the success that we've had people say, oh, you were so lucky to get into the industry when you did. When I hear that, I want to pop them one. I do. Because luck had nothing to do with it. It was about taking one step at a time and moving forward. So my question or my thought to you today is this. If you're tired of just getting by, if you're tired of not doing what you want to accomplish, then what you need to do is there needs to come a time when you just stand up, take charge, and become a better you. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. My name is Jamie Prickett. I'm the CEO of Experior Financial Group. And if you like what you saw in that video, that was from our last convention. Well, this next convention coming up July 16th to the 18th of 2024 is going to be absolute fire. It's the Decade of Distinction. And if you haven't got tickets for it, click on the link below. Let's make it happen. We're going to change the world.